Previously on the business.
The next person we're talking to must have absolutely fabulous nails. You're not scared of a little bit of a manicure, if you get my drift there, Rudi. Is that right?
Manicures are very good for males and females.
Rudi, thank you so much for joining us on The Business this morning with FNB. Rudi, Rudolph is the managing director of Sorbet. What do you term your business? Can I say nail bar, or am I going to be shot down in flames, Rudi?
You're on dangerous ground.
It's a salon, I think.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a beauty salon. We do have dedicated nail bars, but only about 5 or 6. But the rest of it is a beauty salon offering a total solution to our female guests, mainly.
Now, I see that you're opening up on literally every single corner. You guys are on a charge at the moment to get your businesses out there. It looks as though they're doing really well. And as Darren Scott said the other day, every time he looks at his phone, it's beeping with his FNB credit card being charged by a Sorbet nail bar because his wife seems to be in one of your stores. Are they doing very well, Rudi?
We love their wives. We love FNB's cards. It's wonderful. It sounds like music. They are doing exceptionally well at the moment. I think we've got a recipe that's fair to both ourselves and to our franchisees. And we've got an enormous amount of applications at the moment, people who's interested. And it's a process that we're trying to manage in a responsible way because the positioning of our salons are very important to us.
Rudi, it's Rudi, it's Astrid here. Let's just paint a little bit of a background for our listeners. You started out, 2005, is that right?
August 2005. The business, my partner actually bought 4 salons in 2004, and then we looked at the name and a look and feel at that point in time, and we launched 4 stores in August 2005 under the Sorbet banner.
And today you have upwards of 35, 36, 37, what is it?
Go up.
Well, sales exceeding 100 million rand a year, is that right?
No, our group sales this year should be in the region of about 260 million.
Well, there you go. How's that for franchise story success?
And we're busy opening at the end of this month. By the end of this month, we're opening another 9 stores in November. So we should be on about 83, 84, and early next year I hope to be on 100 outlets.
So you're aiming for 100. So still room for applicants on the franchises?
No, absolutely.
Now, you came up with quite an original idea, though, and you went into a market that was quite saturated. Let's talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people have business ideas. They're just not quite sure. How do they take that idea and really turn it into something that differentiates? Or, people misinterpret what is meant by differentiation. Or do they really have to spot a gap, or can they just be a me too? You can talk a little bit about how you took that idea for a beauty salon, but what you did differently, what you knew you had to do differently in order to get into the gap and really, really have something that was a different proposition for your clients.
I think there was a gap in the market, and we checked if there was a market in the gap. Nice saying. In terms of it was a very fragmented business when Sorbet started. In terms of, and believe you me, there are very, very good individual owners who operate from a home or anything like that. But coming out of a retail environment, we saw an opportunity to create a chain with different management disciplines in it, with the benefit of marketing to a chain, and that was the opportunity, number one. And number two, if you look at a typical Sorbet store, it is really a retail store, and attached to it we have our treatment rooms and our beauty side of the business, whereas your conventional beauty salon offers treatments and then maybe a little bit of a retail product.
So you put the products first.
It around and yes, absolutely. Even our income stream dictates differently, whereby our retail exceeds our income stream or our treatment income by far.
And Rudi, one of the things that I think also differentiates Sorbet is that you are prominent in the malls, and we know that South Africa is a mall society, a mall-going society. Yeah. Do you think that's absolutely vital to the success of the chain. I mean, if you looked at expanding outside of South Africa, would you take that? Would you factor that as a consideration that not all countries are mall-going societies? You know, it depends on the country and the culture.
You are so right. I think from an exposure point of view, going into malls obviously gives you instant exposure. You've got a lot of traffic going past the store. You're being noticed by a lot of people. But our experience is in a number of our stores where we go to more convenient neighborhood centers. And I would almost want to say, and Woolies can pay for it, there's a Woolies food store. That is our customer, and it gives them a note and a reason to go and shop, etc. And if we can position the salon close by, we do find a huge benefit there as well. As you well know, when you've done your treatment and your face is all blotched and red, you don't like to walk through a mall, so we try and position it in malls closer to exits and that type of thing, if at all possible.
I'm still looking for the facial. Sorry, Rudi, I'm still looking for the facial that doesn't leave one all blotchy. Can you recommend someone? I think you might have some contacts.
You don't need a facial if that's not the effect after.
Rudi, let's talk about the nuts and bolts quickly. I'm interested in finding out if I am a franchisee or potential franchisee, how much does it cost to open a Sorbet? What's it gonna cost me? And what are the requirements that the Sorbet franchise would need from me before you'd even consider letting me open your doors?
Okay, very good question. There is not a standard figure, but what we do is differently is we give an idea what the cash requirement will be and not necessarily the investment. The cash requirement does include your VAT payment, it does include a deposit for your lease, and it includes working capital for a month or two. So an ordinary salon of, say, 80 square meters will comprise of roughly 4 treatment rooms, maybe 2 manicure tables, maybe 2 or 3 pedicure chairs, and a retail area. That is what it will comprise of. Your cash requirement for that in an average type of trading environment should be in the region of about 1.1 million.
You mentioned investment, Rudi. Let's talk a little bit about what that investment is.
The net investment, if you discard the VAT proportion of that 1.1 million and you discard the deposit, which is not money that you've spent, when you register for VAT, you claim it back, will be in the region of about 930,000 on an 80 square meter store.
And Rudi, just to clarify this, you are a national franchise. Are you in sort of semi-major centers, for example, like George? Are you even there?
To answer the previous question, we started in the malls in the metropolitan areas like Johannesburg mainly, and then Cape Town and Durban and Pretoria. We have recently opened in places like Nelspruit.
Yeah.
We've opened in Kwani, the Bloemfonteins of this world, Port Elizabeth, George that you've mentioned. We do have inquiries on that. Further than that, we also have had a lot of inquiries from neighboring states, e.g. Namibia, Botswana, Kenya, Uganda, etc. And we're also pursuing currently an opportunity to open our first store in the UK early part of next year. Because we've been there, we had a look at the beauty market very briefly, and what we saw is there is an opportunity for our model to go forward in a place like the UK, for instance.
Rudi,
that won't be a main focus.
Rudi, Astrid here again. You talk about launching in the UK, but when you started out in South Africa, I think you and your partner both realized that you did need to build a brand. And this is a part of SME growth that I think is quite fundamental. There seems to be a lot of misinterpretation about what a brand is. You know, it's not just a logo and a name and a little icon that you put next to it. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because the fact that you're taking a step into the UK means that you've understood that. You've paid your school fees in South Africa. You have a brand in South Africa, but you're going to face the same challenge now building that brand in the UK.
Yeah, we're not discarding South Africa and think, we're bigger than we are and going to the UK, walk around Oxford Street and knock and open shops. That's not what it's about. An opportunity presented itself. Our focus is in South Africa. There's a lot of opportunity here. As far as the brand is concerned, at the cost of profits, if the question was asked, will this money build the brand or will it create profits in the short term? Our choice was to build the brand. That was the main objective. But as you say, association with the brand is what it's all about, not the logo. And we believe that the culture we've created within our stores, within our community, the service philosophy within our business is certainly adding to that brand value and that brand perception as far as our guests are concerned.
And how did you come up with the name
Important.
Sorbet?
Well, my partner, it was just before my time, it was presented to him by an agency, and it was about 15th on the mark. And it said sorbet, and if you think of sorbet, what it sort of resonated well, and it sort of gives you that feeling of freshness, cleanness, etc., and it was just a name that appealed.
Rudi, I want to know from you about how you've managed to get one of the fastest growing and most successful brands in terms of franchises in the country. Blood, sweat and tears, but more than that, a clever kind of plan looking forward to your 100 stores. How have you done it?
I don't think it's so much clever. It's identifying what the gap is in this industry, and that is the question of presenting some integrity to our guests. Also, the whole service philosophy, people understanding, people coming to us, and if you go into any of our stores, you will find there's a big notice that says, if you're not happy with your treatment, you don't have to pay.
Wow.
Now, we honor that. We need to know what's wrong. That gives us an opportunity to investigate something. There might be something in that treatment room, the hygiene level and attitude, lack of training or whatever. So this is an opportunity for us. Instead of losing another 10 or 12 or 15 guests, we get a complaint. We take it very seriously. We deal with both the guest, the complaint, the staff internally. And I think it's just a philosophy of confidence that we create with our guests. They can come to us if they do a purchase and they're not happy, and this is long before the CPA came into effect. We take it back. We don't argue and try and find out their background and history before we consider a credit. It's our aim, and it's to make our guests happy. And if I can just mention the following to you, that if people join us and our franchisees join us, they are not there to make money. Now, that's a controversial statement. The purpose is to serve. If we serve well, you will make money. If you focus on making money, you might lose a lot of other issues. That's very important, and that falls to the gap. So our entire network is geared on service. They come to work to serve.
Rudi?
We as the leadership,
Sorry,
we as
Rudi.
the leadership also, yes, ma'am.
From a franchisor perspective, one of the things you've done is you've retained ownership of some of the stores, and I think that's probably quite key. A lot of franchises might not have thought about that when they set out to say, let's create a business that we can eventually franchise, and they kind of think, well, we'll sit back, get that annuity revenue in, and let other people run the business, so to speak, and grow the brand. But you took a very different approach to that, didn't you?
Well, initially, when the business was started, it was always franchising in mind. So, but we had to build a franchise, and we acquired stores in that process, and we got up to 22 stores, in fact, as company-owned stores before we started to franchise and before we were confident the model was working. We have sold a number of those stores and converted them into franchises. We still got 6 left. That's corporate stores. We'll possibly keep 1 or 2 of those. Just to give us a basis to work on. But the stores that we've sold, the most amazing part is when the franchisees took them over, they performed exceptionally well and far better than we could do.
Really?
Because, yeah, the owner is there. She's there. She can look in your eyes and see if you're not happy. Doesn't have to ask you.
Do you have male owners?
Yo, you took that question right out of my mouth.
1, we've got 2.
Fantastic. Why don't you have a section on your website for men who want to have facials? Because I know us boys who are a bit metrosexual, we like to maybe get a facial or a bit of a manicure. Perhaps are a bit intimidated. That could be a potential growth area as well there, Rudi.
You've got a very good point. We've got men treatments on our menu. Maybe we should put it on the website.
Yeah.
About 4% of our business is men, and it is growing, albeit of a low level. But you've got a point. Maybe we should do it a little bit more.
Yeah, there's nothing better for a woman than a man with nice hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The modern men, they're not scared of it.
Listen, we've taken up enough of your time. What an interesting insight into a booming business. Rudi, Rudolph, thank you for your time today. The Managing Director of Sorbet South Africa. You can find them at sorbet.co.za. That is sorbet.co.za. And don't forget this, the interview will be podcast once again on the website at balls.co.za just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. Rudi, thanks for your time. Have a great day.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for talking to you and your guests. Thanks a lot.
Good stuff. Take care. There you go. That is what an interesting man.
Very interesting.
I expected a dynamic woman behind the business, and how wrong I was.
Well, they've actually described themselves, Rudi and Ian Furr, who started Sorbet, they've described themselves as surprising everybody in the early days because everybody expected dynamic, certain type of look, female, and there these two grumpy old men arrived.
The Business. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on balls.co.za. Brought to you by FNB Business Banking.